How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you here?
That's difficult to answer.
Some idea.
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
this the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the dystopia. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the dystopia. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the dystopia. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the dystopia. This is the final
What up, everyone? Happy Monday. This has been a glorious, glorious, glorious day. But guys, we have a quick stream today because at 6 p.m. Eastern, I got invited to go onto Maj Touré stream. And originally, and I love Maj Touré. I do love him. I love Maj Touré. But originally, I was like, Maj, I have a stream at that time. Maybe next time we can, we can figure it out. But I've got a stream at this time, so I'm gonna have to pass. And then Maj Touré was like, Carlin, Angela McArdle and Michael Heiss are going to be on, and you're going to get to debate them about whether or not libertarians should be supporting Trump. And I was like, you have my attention, Maj, because I have so much to say to Angela McArdle and Michael Heiss. I have so much to say that's been building up over the course of the last 2 years of betrayals from Angela McArdle and Michael Heiss, where they pretended that they were going to be reforming the Libertarian Party to make it libertarian again, but it turns out they just wanted to turn the Libertarian Party into fucking MAGA. And I didn't sign up for that, and I didn't spend thousands of dollars supporting the Mises Caucus takeover in 2022, including being a delegate that voted for their asses at the National Convention in Reno. I didn't do that to have the party turned into fucking MAGA. So I have some things to say, all right? I have some things to say. So we're going to do that at 6 p.m. And I'll make sure everyone has the link so you guys can go over there and watch that. And I very rarely do debate, but I have things to say. Obviously, very appropriately. And I'm probably not going to yell at anyone, but I have things to say. Yeah, I'm breaking out the fucking whip. And so guys, what that does mean is that the community Zoom call we have at 7 p.m. is probably going to get postponed a little bit because I have to do this first, and then we'll do the community Zoom call right after it. It's a really full day. I expect everyone to, I don't expect anything. People can do whatever they want. But, I thank everyone for your flexibility because I have things to say. And you guys will know when we're going to get started with the Zoom because it'll be when I'm done with the stream. And that's going to be the way it goes. But before we get into that, inspiration usually. Why is my hair being crazy? There we go. Doesn't look much better. It's a fresh out of the shower. not even blow-dried look today. With my new Marxist Utopia the Dead sweater that I got the shoulder out of, so it looks like slouchy. It's very oversized and good. I got the Marxist Utopia, and the printing came out so good on it. I'm so glad I almost didn't make this design. I almost saw this design and I was like, but it worked out. Anyway, before we get into that, so inspiration struck me last night. Inspiration struck me. And it was one of those most perfect, glorious moments where both inspiration struck me and the AI cooperated at the same time. Now, I don't know how many of you have made AI music before, but sometimes with AI music, you need to go through several rounds before you get something you like. The song that I'm going to be premiering, and you may have already seen it on Twitter, the song that we're going to be watching, brand new, the AI got it right on the first try. This was the first, and I did several more rounds. I did probably a couple dozen more just to have options. It's always important to have options. It got it on the first damn try. And I was like, that means that this song is meant to be. That means the universe wanted to have this song. Yes, and I need to put the other one on Spotify too, Liquid Marble. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh man, I never put that other song on Spotify. I will. I promise. I promise. I pinky swear. Trust me, bro. So who is ready for the YouTube premiere of the latest and greatest AI song that I've ever written? I'm so proud of this song. It brought a tear to my eye. Please go ahead and mount the like button for me, if you would be so kind, and allow me to introduce you to the latest and greatest song in our AI music repertoire, The Emperor with No Clothes.
He's calling out cults and conspiracies wild, Gnostic sex cults and theories compiled. But one question's raised and it's blocked on the spot. No room for dissent in the world he's got. But the crowd starts to laugh and they're starting to see a whole lot of words that just don't agree. Oh, Emperor James, are you feeling the breeze? Might wanna look down, see what's caught at the knee. He's the Emperor with no clothes, strutting around like nobody knows, shouting loud, thinking he's wise, but he's bearing it all to everyone's eyes. He's the Emperor, yeah, with no disguise, slipped down by his own price. Look, that is an intellectual line. Oprah's got mind control, powers divine. He's calling Saint Michael the devil in charge and telling the Catholics they got it too large. Oh, James, don't you know it's a tricky game when you're calling out folks but you're doing the same. You say it's a truth only you understand, but the crowd's got a mirror showing just where you stand. He's the Emperor with no clothes, strutting around like nobody knows, shouting loud, thinking he's wise, but he's bearing it all to everyone's eyes. He's the Emperor, yeah, with no disguise, stripped down by his own pride. start to fade and the truth comes around. His theories unravel like threads on the ground. The court starts to giggle, the people all cheer, for the emperor's naked, the truth's finally here. He's the emperor with no clothes, strutting around like nobody knows, shouting loud, thinking he's wise, but he's bearing it all to everyone's eyes. He's the emperor, yeah, with no disguise, slipped down by his own pride. So here's to the lesson, let's give it a toast to emperors walking in nothing but boast. Join Carlin's cult and open your eyes. She's here to expose James's epic lies.
I'm pretty pleased with myself. I'm pretty pleased with myself. Did everyone like that? I just like, I have this vision in my head of people listening to it and they have their lighters in the air. It's like, that's the vision. I want to create that. Someday we're going to do a retreat. Someday we're going to do a retreat and we're going to play that song. We're going to blast that song. Everyone's going to have lighters out and it's going to be beautiful. And you know what? Well, predictably, James is pretty upset. I can't imagine why James would be upset. I can't imagine why. I can't imagine the fact that this already has 20,000 views on Twitter. I can't imagine why that would make James upset. It eludes me. It eludes me. And the thing of it is listen, the most ironic thing of all, James posted this yesterday. He was like, if you don't like the struggle sessions the left does, just wait until you experience the cruelty and evil of struggle from the woke right. The left will struggle you to transform you for your own good. The woke right will simply seek to humiliate and destroy you without the first bit of caring or concern. They delight in destruction more than the left, and they see it as a virtue and a sign of strength. And you know what? I was like, yes, James. Yes, I will struggle session you in song. I will write a whole musical to struggle session you, James. We will put on a theatrical production complete with dance to struggle session your ass. James is definitely watching us. Well, you know what? We actually know that for sure, Reagan. We actually know that for sure because James tried to get funny with us, not there. Here. James tried to get funny with us. James tried to get funny with us. Do you guys remember last week on Friday when we watched James's absurd presentation talking about Communism 101? And James was talking about some circle or like sacred circle or sacred spiral. And I was like, is he actually talking about the golden ratio? Because the golden ratio is a thing in the land of Woo. It is. And the golden ratio is Fibonacci sequence. And it's basically like, I mean, like all these different things in nature adhere to the golden ratio. It's a thing in sacred geometry. And so I was like, if James thinks that everything Woo is Gnostic, is he actually talking about the golden ratio? Because that would be absurd. The only only worthy debunking is of James Lindsay. Yeah, seriously. So I actually didn't really think he was talking about the golden ratio, but then I was like, but was he? Because James has said a lot of crazy shit that is unhinged from reality. And then James tried to lay a trap for us, but what he actually did was reveal himself. After we debunked his absurd communism thing, James posted this on Twitter. A cross-quarter reckoning, welcome to early winter. And I saw this just by accident almost immediately after he posted it. And I was like, holy shit, James was talking about the golden ratio. This is a math PhD talking about the Fibonacci sequence as Gnostic. And then James was very proud of himself because he's like, easiest troll in history, guys. And so he got screenshots of me saying he was talking about the golden ratio. He got screenshots of Reagan saying it was about the golden ratio. Mizakan, Dragon Tail, everyone. We were all dragging James. And he was like, ha ha, guys, I trolled you. But the thing of it is this. First of all, I'm not entirely unconvinced that James isn't talking about the golden ratio when he's talking about the sacred spiral. I'm actually not unconvinced of that. But it actually doesn't even matter. Do you want to know why? Oh yeah, he screenshotted you. Yeah. He disabled the chat? Ah! I didn't know that. See, people were texting me like early this morning. They were like, James is premiering his new episode today, Carlin. Do you want to crash it? And I was like, and people in my group chat can attest. I was like, I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. I don't have the energy for this. I'm getting old. I can't do it. And so we weren't even going to do anything today. We weren't even there. And James is still disabling his group chat. James L. Me W. We got him to disable his entire fucking chat. Suck on that, James. Suck on that. But it's even better than that, guys. Let's go back to this for a second. So on Friday, we debunked his Communism 101 thing, right? He posted this tweet on Saturday. I hadn't said anything publicly about the golden ratio stuff. The only place where I said, is James actually talking about the golden ratio, was in the middle of the happy hour stream. What this means is James revealed to us that he's watching. That was dead set in the middle of the stream. James is watching our streams. We are in his head. Everyone wave to James. Hi. Hi, James. We've got you. We've got you. He outed himself. Yes, disabling the chat does sound very illiberal, doesn't it? I mean, I thought that James was a classical liberal that just wanted a free market of ideas. Why can't James handle a free market of ideas? Hi, James. Hi. Hi, Jimmy. Hi. Hi. We see you, James. It's okay. Hi. Hi. You guys know what this means, right? Well-deserved victory. Next is Angela and Bill. Michael Heiss. Michael Heiss is the one I want to talk to. Thank you, though, Nick. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're all glad that you could join us, James. We're glad that you can join us. You guys know what this means, right? We're winning. And we're not winning in a small way. We're winning in a big way. James is actively taking precautions to make sure we can't ask him questions about his content. And I really want to emphasize this because, listen, we're going to look at some personal attacks that James has made against me, but I really want to emphasize this. I have said over and over and over again, I want no personal attacks. I don't want anyone arguing with James's chat. All we do when we crash James's streams is we literally ask him very specific questions about the left that are relevant to what he is saying. We don't ask him things that are irrelevant. We don't scream about the Jews. We don't insult him. We listen to what he's saying, and then we ask him questions in a nice way. We're not being mean about it. That are relevant to what he is saying. That's it. That's it. And I have told my chat repeatedly, I don't want anyone going below the belt. I don't want anyone engaging in ad hominem attacks. We're keeping it up here. And now you guys are seeing the purpose of why we're keeping it up here. Because James's actions, in terms of him disabling his chat, proves that he is not capable of taking questions about his work. Let me just see. I just want to make sure. I'm just gonna look on the channel real quick. We should be able to see that the chat was disabled. Oh shit, that's not what I wanted. YouTube.com/new discourses. I just want to make sure the chat was actually disabled. And I trust that it was, but I want to see it. I want to see it for myself. I want to see disabled chat. Disabled. We did it. We did it, guys. We did it. We did it. We win. We are winning. And the fact that James is obviously and clearly listening to our streams, the fact that we got James to disable his chat because he couldn't take people asking him very legitimate questions about his work. We are winning. Yeah, this is a great question, Fenderbean. How can James be a teacher of things if students are not allowed to ask questions? How can that be? We will take this W as a blessing from on high that we are on the right track and we need to keep the pressure on. Because, you know, James is unhappy. He's unhappy. And I gotta actually thank James, because James actually retweeted the entire song. Because although James has blocked me on Twitter, I have not blocked James. And so when James found out that I wrote a little song about him being the emperor with no clothes, James retweeted the actual video out to his entire 500,000 follower audience. Thanks, James. I appreciate that. And you know what's so great about it? Not only did he retweet the video, he actually proved my fucking point. He proved my point. Because again, James has to go back to his same old ad hominem attacks. James doesn't want to acknowledge that I have real and sincere intellectual grievances with his work. James will never acknowledge that. He just says, Carlin has a personality disorder. James is literally saying, anyone that levies intellectual criticisms of my work has a personality disorder. And that's the entire fucking point of the song. That's the entire point of the song. James is the emperor who thinks he's strutting around in these brand new clothes when in fact he's really running around naked and everyone can see it. And it's not even like, but no one's calling it out. And that's part of what I said. And you'll notice when I put this song out, I flat out said, history will show there are people who stood up and shouted, well, this should have been end. You know what I mean? It's Twitter. History will show there were people who stood up and shouted, the emperor isn't wearing clothes. And then there were people who insisted the invisible clothes were real and blocked the people who told the truth. Guys, James Lindsay isn't wearing any clothes. And I don't mean that literally. They're going to say, they're going to say, Carlin is fantasizing about James Lindsay, even though that's the stupidest thing ever. The emperor not wearing clothes is not actually a good thing. We've watched James's recent presentations. they're garbage. They're not hinged into the reality of what the left is saying. James had an entire room full of people that he literally said, do you guys remember this in the presentation? He literally told an entire room full of people, Hegel is a wizard. He said, Hegel is a wizard. And then you have these old kind of like boomers that are honestly just trying to understand all this crazy stuff that's going on in the world. And those boomers like, James, can you repeat that again? And James said, yes, Hegel is a wizard. And it's like, bro, at some point, someone's got to start calling this shit out. Because, again, I would not care. Like, Helen Pluckrose seems to have this idea that we're doing this because I want access to James. I don't want access to James at all. And I want to be very clear about that. I don't give a flying flip about getting access to James. What I care about is that James is wrongly informing millions and millions of people about what is going on the left. Everything that he's saying, well, maybe not everything, but a lot of what he's saying is completely unhinged from reality. I have spent my days for the past 3+ fucking years watching as many far left trainings as I can stomach. I have watched more far left training than any other anti-communist in the world that I know of. And if someone's watched more than me, tell me who they are. I have gone undercover at far left events. I've talked to them in person. I know what they say when the door is closed. And I know that the things that James Lindsay is teaching people in Moms for Liberty, in Turning Point USA, on New Discourses, I know that many of them are completely unhinged from what the left is doing in the real world. And I have very real, very specific intellectual grievances about this. And if James wants to continue to deflect by saying, Carlin has borderline personality disorder and this is borderline devaluation and she's just obsessed with me, that's intellectually dishonest. And that's why this is going to continue. And this is going to continue until I'm good and satisfied. We are winning. We have the upper hand. James looks like a moron. Helen Pluckrose is reading. We're not going to have time to talk about Helen today, but that's a whole other thing. We drove Helen Pluckrose insane yesterday, and that wasn't even that hard. I wasn't surprised. I was just disappointed. Let's see what else. Oh, we've got James retweeting his buddy Frank McCormick. Frank is one of the stupidest people on the internet. Dr. Cluster B made a 4-minute and 25-second music video about James Lindsay. The part about him being naked is more about her fantasies than criticisms. I am once again urging conceptual James to get a restraining order. I'd like to see him try. James, with 500,000 followers, wants to get a social media restraining order when he's been retweeting people, calling me fat, saying I have a personality disorder, spreading a rumor that I want to fuck him, and I have people on tape saying that he did this. James wants to try to get a restraining order against me. He's going to have a good old time when I show up into court and say, here are all the things that James Lindsay has said and done about me. And then the judge is going to say, well, what have you done to him? I said, well, I wrote a couple of songs and I made intellectual criticisms of his work. So I would love to see James try. I really would. I would actually go to fucking Tennessee for that. I'm not going to go to Tennessee otherwise. But for that, if James wants to try to get a social media restraining order against me to prevent me from saying whatever the fuck I want to say when he has put himself in the position of being a public figure on the internet, like, cry harder, bro. Cry harder. The amount of fucking harassment that I've had to take being a public figure on the internet, like, nothing that we've ever done to James comes anywhere fucking close. So he can go ahead and try. And if James tries, I will cart my ass out to fucking Tennessee or wherever the fuck he is. And I will bring a mountain of receipts about all the things that James has said and done about me. And we'll see what's what. And we'll see what the judge says. But I don't think he's going to try because I think they all know. Because, I mean, Frank McCormick is legitimately an idiot. But if anyone doesn't understand the story of the Emperor's New Clothes, this is a grade school story, bro. It's a grade school story. Helen is helping people with workplace traumas such as decolonize is what she told me, but she probably can't explain what that means. Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Helen Pluckrose has no idea what any of this shit means either. And she says she's helping people to decolonize. Like, bro, do you even understand what that means? Helen, I don't actually really care about interacting with. I never actually cared about interacting with her because I've never actually found Helen to be that smart or that insightful, if I'm honest about it. I'm old enough to remember when Helen told me she was doing more to help victims of workplace bullying than I was. And this was this was immediately after she had launched her consultancy Counterweight. And I was like, Helen, I literally wrote a fucking PhD dissertation about workplace bullying. I've been helping targets of workplace bullying for over a decade. You're going to tell me that you've done more by launching Counterweight, which hasn't actually done anything, than me? And you're going to tell me you know more about workplace bullying in the United States, which, by the way, she didn't. She didn't understand basic employment law in the United States, than I do when I've been doing this for about 10 years longer than you? Okay, sure, yeah, I'm sure that's true, Helen. Yeah, okay. So, whatever. I don't actually care about Helen Pluckrose all that much. My bigger interest was in exposing that she's fucking crazy. And I feel like I accomplished that. I feel like I accomplished it. So James retweeted Frank here. Let's look in the comments. Major stalker vibes. Look, I even said to him, I was like, bro, him not wearing clothes is not like a good thing. Like, they're literally saying, oh, James just blocked you. Oh. It's almost like Jimmy can't handle criticism, isn't it? They're literally saying that I'm fantasizing about James being naked. I am not fantasizing about James being naked. There is actually a point of this song that the lyrics reveal pretty easily if people actually listen. What else do we have here? Oh, I also think this is funny because James wants to talk about cruelty. Yo, do you guys remember this? I'm old enough to remember last week. Today I spent 3.5 hours dissecting James Lindsay's introductory podcast about cultural Marxism live. It was awful. It was incoherent, confusing, and inaccurate. James and his audience responded with a 2-year-old Photoshop picture of me saying she's fat. There it is. I don't even like looking at that picture, but there it is. Am I hiding what I look like? Am I hiding what I look like? You can see James retweeted that. And so when James is tweeting things like, the left will struggle you to transform you for your own good, the woke right will seek to humiliate and destroy you without the first bit of caring and concern. What the fuck was this, James? What the fuck was this? I mean, this picture's photoshopped. It's photoshopped to make me look fatter than I actually was. Which is why they use it. But I have lost weight, but that's actually also photoshopped. Yeah, Brittany was me for Halloween. True. That's actually what I look like now. Obviously, you guys can also see me. Is this picture... People are going to say, this picture is inaccurate and you are using angles and filters. Well, I'm not using angles and filters now. The camera's right in front of me. It's mounted to the top of my monitor. No, it was when, I know exactly when it was. It was outside of, it was in November of 2022 outside of the Senate debate in New Hampshire. I know exactly when it was. I know when that picture was taken. Because they've been using that picture against me for years. But the point is, it's like, James has been attacking me for my looks for a while now. Let's see, what else do I have? Is that it? Okay, that's basically it. So yeah, that's the new song about James. Let's see if James has any more, let's see if we have any more James tweets. I do have to wrap up in a second, guys, because I do have to go to the stream with Maj Toure. Let me just see what's going on James's feed. Doesn't look like nothing. Let's talk about Chris Brunet real quick. Let's talk about Chris Brunet. So this is another level of vindication. I'm just going to take my victory lap. People might think I'm taking a little bit too much of a victory lap, but I'm taking my fucking victory lap, okay? Because I tried with Chris Brunet. I tried. I was so nice. I was so nice. Chris Brunet had to make it into a big old public thing because he's a little man with little man syndrome. Wah wah. He might be a 6'4" Chad, but we all know. We can tell. We can tell. Anyway, Chris Brunet totally flamed out today with the Groypers, and I have to say, I fucking loved it. I fucking loved it. Because my whole thing was I was trying to tell them, I was like, he's not awake yet, he can't be trusted, he's not awake yet, he can't be trusted. And they were like, fuck you, Carlin. Well, not all of them, but some of them. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to disengage from this stuff if you guys are going to be dicks about it. And I did. I disengaged from the Groypers. I disengaged from Nick. I stopped watching Nick's show. I stopped promoting his stuff. And it wasn't anything against Nick because I love Nick, but I was like, I'm not going to be fucking treated like that. Fuck you guys. Like, I have sacrificed a metric ton of shit. I've talked about this before. I have sacrificed a lot to stand up for Nick Fuentes. I have been consistent as all get out over the course of the last year. I haven't wavered once. And then I question your 6'4" Chad and say, I don't know that he's trustworthy, guys. And I get fucking booted. That didn't sit right with me. It just didn't sit right. So I was like, all right, well. Made me sad. Because again, I like Nick. This was nothing against Nick. It was just like, I'm just not. We teach people how to treat us, essentially. And there are things that I will tolerate. There's teasing I will tolerate. There's a little bit of nonsense that I'll tolerate. But am I going to tolerate open hostility when I didn't actually do anything? Nah. No, I'm not. So I have to say, watching Chris Brunet completely flame out on the Groypers today, it was glorious. And the reason that I found out about it was Classics. Classics Groyp. Shout out Classics. He's one of the Clipper accounts. Classics and I have had our moments in the past where we weren't exactly friends, but I feel like Classics and I did see each other at AFPAC. We have, I think, been relatively cordial with each other. And so I have to say, how I found out about all this is Classics Groyp responded to Chris Brunet and he said, Dr. Carlin B, Vindication Tour started and it hasn't even been a week. And I gotta say, having that acknowledgement that I was fucking right, I said it from the very beginning, that actually was really nice. Because I didn't expect that. I knew Chris Brunet was going to flame out at some point. I knew that was going to happen. That was very, very clear to me. Like, it wasn't even... But like when these things happen, when you're obviously right about something, and then you're proven right, you know what never, ever, 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 ever happens in the history of the internet? Is people come back and they say, yeah, you were right about that, Carlin. It never happens. People will shit on you, they'll flame you, they'll defame you, they'll smear you, and then when it's proven that you were right all along, they never come back and be like, you know what, sorry about that. That was kind of fucked up what we did to you because you were right. And so I'm very used to that. Like, there have been so many instances where I'm clearly and obviously right. I always was right. Sometimes it takes years for it to be proven, but then I'm like, where the fuck is my apology? Because I told you this from the very beginning. So I have to give a shout out to Classics, and there were actually a lot of other Groypers as well. There were a lot of other Groypers coming into my feed going, we're sorry, Carlin. I was like, oh. So it was actually very nice. Honestly, and I appreciate it. Now, there's been a little bit of a ruffling of the thing in regards to one specific Groyper with a really big fucking mouth. My hope is, and I'm not even going to say his name, I will say that he spurged out in my DMs and told me he was going to spit in my face when he next saw me, and then he told me to kill myself, and he called me all sorts of names. So he was having some feelings. But... it is actually my sincere hope that he get the fuck over it and that everyone moves together nicely. And listen, if that doesn't happen, if that doesn't happen, no harm, no foul, man. I have no problem disengaging from Nick and the Groypers. I really don't. Again, it makes me sad, and it has nothing to do with Nick, but I'm not going to be here's my position. I am not going to put myself in a position of being perpetually shit on just because I'm a woman. I'm not talking about gentle teasing. I'm talking about open, aggressive hostility. For example, you are not going to come to me and say, you are going to spit in my face the next time you see me in person. No. That's not teasing. That's open fucking hostility. And that's not cool, man. I want to have good relationships with the Groypers. I want to have I want to be able to talk about Nick. I love what Nick's doing. I think it's great. But the price I am not going to pay for that is being a target of open fucking hostility when I haven't done anything to deserve it. That price is a bit too high for me. And so that's my line in the sand. I'm not asking for an incredibly high bar, but you're not going to come to me and say you're going to spit in my fucking face when you see me in person at the next event. That's not going to fucking happen. That's crossing the fucking line. And if you say that to me, expect there to be a response. 'Cause I'm sorry, I didn't build my platform off of Nick and the Groypers. I appreciate many of the Groypers. I'm glad when some of the Groypers come around. I'm glad that I've been able to teach the Groypers things. I have no issue with most of them. I want to maintain good relations. But if I need to disengage and take a step back because I'm dealing with openly aggressive hostility for no good fucking reason, then I will. And quite frankly, I won't really lose anything from it because even though many of the Groypers come and hang around and I do enjoy them, I don't make money off the Groypers. The Groypers give all their money to Nick, which is what they should be doing. I'm not questioning that, but it's like, it's not any big loss to me to say, okay, well, we need to take a little bit of a step back and reevaluate. It's not what I want. I want everything to be cool. But it's also kind of like it wouldn't be the end of the world. So my final talking point on this, I guess, I don't know if that's really accurate that it's a talking point necessarily, is that I was really excited to see Chris Brunet flame out. Chris Brunet is telling everyone that if they don't vote for Trump, they're voting for Kamala Harris. The Groypers are arguing with him. Chris Brunet is openly fighting with some of the Groypers now. Look, Nick had this clip on Friday where Nick was like, fuck self-improvement. Chris Brunet is openly counter-signaling him, dedicate yourself to self-improvement. He's openly fighting with classics. He's openly fighting with look at this. He's calling the Groypers all fat retards. Apparently, this is actually my favorite. This is my favorite. Apparently, Chris Brunet is a classical fucking liberal. Check this out. This is a speech that Chris Brunet gave at Stanford about classical liberalism. We can watch the whole thing. Oh, sorry, did I annoy you by going into the belly of the beast and delivering a full-throated defense of free speech and online anonymity? Chris Brunet is a classical liberal? Women's intuition, boys. Women's intuition. With that, guys, I do have to wrap up because I do need to go on to Maj Touré's stream. I'm going to make sure everyone has the link to the stream in the chat. Here you go. Here you go. Come and join Maj. And of course, guys, we will be doing our community Zoom call right after the stream. You can find the link to the community Zoom call in the Unwoke Roundup email that I just posted. And as a reminder, too, in the Unwoke Art Store, there's 15% off all orders of $100 or more. That's going to be until I get back from my road trip. We'll talk more about my road trip tomorrow if you haven't heard anything about that. But we do have to wrap up because I got to go be on Maj's stream. So come join me over there. And right after we do this stream, we will do our community Zoom call. And thank you guys for your flexibility. And I'm really looking forward to this. And I'll see you guys over there soon. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
How are you feeling?
Whatever.
How long have you been here? piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.